Welcome to Biz Dev Live. So happy to be talking to you today. Thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in live, so happy to have you. If you're tuning in later, I'm so happy to have you. Biz Dev Live, Biz D with the C. We're going to get into phone calls. Phone calls aren't comfortable for everybody. Phone calls, especially selling, is not comfortable for everybody. So I want to talk about it, talk about the value of it, talk about why it's a good thing if you're not considering phone calls to consider them, and then how to make your phone calls when you're trying to sell somebody on something a little bit better, a little bit easier, and hopefully in a way that improves your business. We'll get into it right after the theme. Stay with me.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live.
So thanks for that. So cutting that short today because I'm getting tired of looking at it. I got to change up that video, but I want to talk to you about phone calls. I want to talk to you about why you should be on the phone, especially if you're not already on the phone. For those folks that understand the value of phone calls, don't know why you'd be checking this out, but if you're looking for some different ways to sell, we'll give you some of that as well. So real-time conversation and conversion is why you need to be on the phone, right? If I send an email or if I send a text, that email or that text may be read later, may be read in the moment, they may be in the middle of something, but it's not, there's no action being taken place on that right now, right? So what I want to do is when I get somebody on the phone, and then, you know, in your head right now, people don't pick up the phone, right? There's robocalls, all that stuff. So the people that we're talking about calling are probably people that you have relationships with. But even those folks that you have relationships with, they may not pick up the call. So you may be in that position of leaving a voicemail. This is good as well, all right? So whoever I'm calling, whether it's a customer following up on something, a colleague chasing them down on something, I usually have an email ready to go or can send an email if I don't catch them on the phone. And even if I talk to them on the phone, because we're probably talking about something, if it's sales related, especially, that I need to send them an invoice or a link, something along that, sign up for an event, so many different things that you can sell and market on the phone that you might not have even thought of. So if you want to get people to sign up for an event, really helpful to get them on a phone call. One of the strategies for an event that I've had right now is, you know, they have an online meetup where they talk about the event and share details to further pull people into the registration process. So you get that real-time conversation and conversion of the attendees, address any thoughts or concerns. And that really is the value of a phone call, because you get to listen and respond, or listen and adapt your sales pitch to the actual needs and feels of the person that you're talking to, right? What do they feel they want? What do they feel they need? And how can you make sure that you're pitching to those needs and concerns, right? If somebody doesn't really want to buy it, or, you know, to partake of the offering that you are doling out, maybe they know somebody that does need that service. So you get that potential for referral, or win-win, sale and referral. Hey, I'm so glad that you're signing up for this event. I'm so glad you're taking advantage of this service. Do you know somebody else that might want to take advantage of as well? Can you refer me, right? And you can do that via email. You can do that via text. But a lot of times a phone call is quicker. You got somebody in the moment, again, real time, that can give you that information where you say, all right, I can act on this right now. The person feels comfortable because they're in the moment. They're in that conversation with you. They're focused, right? And so often our attention is so many different places. So a phone call is really a great place to capture the focus of your customer. Taking the time to call shows that you care. So with those people that you know, and you should be gathering up contacts. You should be meeting with them. So you start that relationship, whether it's on Zoom or a phone call, however you do it, but creating that moment of interaction where you get to know somebody so that later on you can follow up with a phone call. If you're working with customers, creating those great experiences so that they are receptive to that phone call. It will make all of this so much easier. And then, when you're listening on those phone calls, that is the best way to sell, because then you're able to sell to their needs. To sort of sum all of this up and just to make sure you understand the value of calling, when you are on the phone and hearing somebody's voice and calling up memories and calling up feelings and different instinctual pieces of an actual person, when you're on that line, you're going to get a lot more impact out of the few seconds or minutes you're on the phone call with somebody. And it can be time consuming, but no more time consuming than shooting out 1,000 different emails and then having to follow up and follow up and follow up because they're not being read, they're being deleted, they're going to spam. You don't know if they were read or not. A phone call is a great way to quickly get the sale, get the conversion, have a way, ideally, so that you can take that sale over the phone call, but make it easy for your customers if they want to hem and hedge a little bit. Have the email follow up right then. This is the multiple contact of marketing. This is the reason that you want to do it, but you're going to be able to get a lot more done more quickly through the phone call, even though it's not something. Now, I do want to address something before I go, talking about millennials and even Gen Ys, folks that are not comfortable getting on the phone, right? Sorry about that. I'm hitting buttons here. I have folks that, they don't want to pick up the phone and dial, right? They're uncomfortable doing that. They don't want to, you tell somebody, oh, I need you to call this person. They don't want to do it. How do you get somebody that doesn't want to make those phone calls to make those phone calls? It's a tough question, but this is my answer. Practice. If you have somebody in your office and you're trying to get them to call customers more, or you need to call more people, have a buddy do it with you, right? Having that person to lean on, having a little bit of a crutch, if you get into a lost place, somebody to coach you and guide you through the call, what to say, is really good. Because if you get into the habit and understand the responses to a sales call, whatever that call is, and understanding your product offerings, understanding how you do it, being able to respond to questions is an absolute must for a phone call, because I guarantee you it's going to be a wasted phone call if you don't know what to say to obvious questions, right? You need to have responses. When somebody calls me for staffing, I know the ins and outs of arrival times and uniforms and costs and expectations. You got to know that stuff if you're fielding calls for your business, for your product, for your offering. Know what you do and how you do it, and be very, very clear and have great responses. And work with somebody. If you're uncomfortable picking up that phone and making a call, get an accountability buddy. Have somebody work with you so that you're on that call and getting comfortable, because I guarantee you have more people show up at your event, more people buying your product if you are calling people in your network that you know and really following through. Ideally, you do it so well, you create such great fans of what you're doing, they will pick up the phone and make some great phone calls for you. I hope this was helpful. You have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with with C. Brought to you by Cameron T.